Welcome to another episode of Recipe to Success. This one, I've been trying to get this on for a little while now, but we finally made it happen. Sakib, how you doing, bro?
All good, thank you, bro. Glad to be here.
Honor. It's the
I
honor's
told
all
you a
mine.
story upstairs about how you watch it regularly, so it's dope.
I appreciate it. So for anyone that has never seen you before, obviously I'm familiar with you. I've been following you for a little while now. But for anyone that doesn't know, why don't you give them a little bit of an introduction?
Sakib, obviously. A&R by definition, which stands for artist and repertoire. So essentially you work with an artist and his team to develop the artist and put his music out and sign him or her. And other music business stuff that I manage a couple of artists and looking to manage a few producers and whatnot and branch out into that kind of stuff so I can build my own thing eventually as well. That's the long and short of it, really, in terms of what I do day to day. Work at GRM Daily as an A&R / GRM Records, which is the record label side of things. We put out music like every year regularly. This year's been a bit slower due to the pandemic and whatnot, but the last few years, regular volume of singles. We had Slim, who's on holiday at the moment, but Slim's still working mixtape. J1, J Styles, got V9 currently as part of the label with my colleague Alex.
J Styles is like a personal favourite for me.
Yeah?
J Styles.
Yeah, you like J Styles. That's my favourite, J Styles.
Real rap.
But it's because Northwest, I like that style of rap. So that mixtape was for me, it was a success. Sonically, I loved it. Did a young lad called Tex Sinatra just now, last 9 months, in February 2020, mixtape come out. 21, sorry. Loved it. Loved that tape. And numbers wise, it's not like 1.5 million streams as a tape, but that's the kind of quality of music I want to put out. Like, you can look back at it in 5-10 years and say, I'm proud of that one. Still sonically still sounds good. So yeah, man, that's it really.
That's the main thing that you do.
Yeah.
For me, what I found really interesting is, like, the music industry, a lot of the time you don't have too much insight into the back end of it. So that's why, for me, I wanted to know a little bit more as well, like, because I found it super interesting. A&R, is part of A&R, like, the role of being an A&R, to also try and connect artists with each other? Yeah,
sure. As every tape will have features on it. Even if the song doesn't come out, sometimes it's good for artists to vibe in the studio together. And producers, connect artists with producers is probably the main part of the job. If you listen to a song that you love and you're like, who produced it? You go find out who produced it and you think, all right, do you know what? An artist that I have could sound great on him. Can we sort out a session? And then you connect with his manager or himself. Sometimes the producer might be small time. You can just DM him and he's self-managing and you just get in touch, get them in the studio, and you never know what might come out of it. That is essentially the essence of A&R.
And part of it is also being involved with Daily Duppy.
I personally, because GRM it's a big team, but it's a small team. You know what I mean? We're not like what you might think. There's not 50 different people working on loads of different things. It's a family kind of vibe. Everyone chips in and does something or the other related to the main business. And Daily Duppy is just something that I was very passionate about. I loved watching it before I even got there. And then when we took a break, I was very passionate about bringing it back and rebranding it a little bit, and just it's become really popular. Can never get too lazy. I still think we can take it up a notch or two. But the last couple of years, I think Fredo's probably marked a point of, okay, this is like really epic, because that one just flew. We've had a few that charted.
Crazy.
I think H's one went silver. It's just 200,000 sold, and that's just a freestyle. So yeah, man, that is my part of my day to day as well, looking after that, which I enjoy and I'm very passionate about it. I think I can say safely, I think it's the best looking freestyle show in the world.
I agree. I think now GRM, over the past few years, they've just taken a whole new lane of the industry. I feel like there was a point where the other, Linkup, SB, like, they were very close together, but then GRM just like overtook. I think it was also the style of content. Like, every content that was going out, every piece of content that was going out was like good content.
Yeah.
They weren't like, you guys weren't really compromising. So how did that journey happen? Because obviously, like I said, GRM's had a big 5 years, 3 years.
If you watch the Together We Rise documentary, anyone that is watching this watches that will give you an understanding of how GRM started and what posted and how that was launched. It's very interesting. There's no point in me spoiling it or giving it. Watch the doc. It's sick. Everyone's in it.
Cheeky.
Yeah. So watch that. That is really good watch. In terms of my personal journey, I've been there 6 years now. I was actually at Linkup first, funnily enough.
I didn't know that.
But just writing like a journalist, and then started doing social media over there. In terms of, I was writing articles for like 1,000 words or 2,000 words. You put your life and soul into it, and then it gets published on the website. And then they had like good social reach, but your website stuff wasn't going on the socials. It was quite demotivating. Like you've written all these long articles, and it's not on Instagram, it's not on Twitter, and you're thinking, hang on, what's happening here? So now I just got in touch with the boss at the time, and I just said, look, like, why isn't this on Facebook? You've got like 40,000 likes on Facebook. This would help my article. He was just like, oh, if you think it's that easy, why don't you do it? So I was like, all right then. So I started managing the social channels there, and they exploded somehow. I always thought what I found funny, a lot of people found funny. Like, I always thought my sense of viral content was quite good. I thought like I had a knack for it. And eventually that ended up on like 300,000 likes, Linkup TV's Facebook page. It was popping. And
that's huge, by the way, for
yeah,
Facebook.
at that time, 30 to 300 was like a leap. And this is like a transition time. People are probably more on Instagram by now. This is like 2013, 2014. People are moving over to Instagram, right? So Facebook's dying a little bit. And anyway, my cousin had a chance meeting with someone who was doing a bit of work with GRM at the time. And he was like, oh, like, this is Linkup TV socials. Like, it's epic. Like, look at what they're doing. And my cousin, bear in mind, I'm like 4 years younger than him. So he just thought I was just doing a little thing, whatever. He's like, hang on, my cousin does that, right? And he was like, oh, we'd love to introduce him to GRM, blah, blah, blah. Introduced me to Post, had a meeting with Post and Caroline. And from there, started doing social media at GRM. So that's actually how I got in there in 2015. It's a long story, this one. And then from there, did 2 years of socials, I think. Yeah, about 2 years. Got a bit bored, and to be fair, I always shout out Post whenever I feel like I was a bit bored or whatever. I was losing a bit of interest. He was like, "Oh, so what do you want to do? Tell me, and we try to facilitate it." And I said, "Oh, look, man, I think I want to start getting artists on the YouTube. I feel like our YouTube channel's not got all the bangers on it, and I want some bangers on there."
What year was this?
2016, I'd say 2016. And he was like, all right, cool, like, you can do that as well as the socials, bring in some young talent on the YouTube. From there, I fluked it, to be honest. Addison Lee, I heard that on SoundCloud, and I was like, yo, Notes, like, this is a banger, can we shoot it? And we kind of had a model at the time where, is it revealing the secret? No, it's not really, no one does it anymore. We would pay the director to shoot a video if we thought it was a banger, right? And if most times it'd work, you'd probably make that back off YouTube, whatever the director cost. If it didn't, you just take a small, you weighed it up, right? So I was like, no, we need to shoot this one. Hollered at Kirks, a good friend of mine, Kirks, who was coming up at that time. Went and shot Addison Lee, and that flew. Like, that was obviously,
crazy.
You've seen the numbers.
Huge hit.
Yeah, at that time it was a huge hit. Then we did another Notes one, which was Aladdin.
That was like the first mainstream success for Notes, right?
Yes, Addison Lee was.
And then he had a few.
He got
after
signed
that,
off that.
Aladdin, yeah.
Which we'll come back to later. But he got signed off that. And then a few came through. Be Young, Jumanji, which I didn't directly bring through myself. That was a colleague of mine. But when that started moving, I was speaking to his manager about how we can take it to 1 million views. And like, when you can look at it now, it's like 60 million. So yeah, basically that was my job. Finding songs that we liked, or scouting the internet, speaking to managers and be like, yo, can we hear anything you've got? They'll send a song, be like, okay, that one's alright. Oh, this one's hard. Can we shoot this? And we'll put it up on the channel. Young T and Bugsy, Mist come through. So all of these artists are coming through at this point in time, and it's just GRM's YouTube is popping. But I'd say I'd have half a hand to play in that, as do the rest of the team, in terms of, they're putting it out on socials, the branding looks right, the website looks right. All of that together kind of built a cohesive platform. Then Rams happened. So Barking happened, which no one could have predicted that. If I could have predicted that, I would have been a very rich man. He was just a lovely guy, and I was like, oh, like, I'll help you, kind of thing. And rappers and artists weren't always honest. He was just so honest. He said, bro, look, I can't afford the upload fee, but I really like this song, and I really think I could be something. And at the time I just thought, you know, it's so nice someone's honest. And as the artist liaison, I had license to occasionally put something through on like a, what would you call it, like a talent exception. Oh, this guy's big, we're going to waive the fee to build a relationship. So I thought, let's look after him a bit. He was friends with Dave as well, and I thought, you know, if he gets a Dave feature, you know, I can really push him, so let's upload his one for free. It was like a Sunday evening, random Sunday evening. I forgot about it, and he messaged me like, yo bro, it was meant to be out like half an hour ago. I was like, shit. Went on YouTube, uploaded it quickly, woke up in the morning and it's on like 100,000 views, which back then is like nuts. Even now to do it overnight is sick. It was like, what the hell, this is like this is looking like a monster. It just grew and grew and grew.
It was just so catchy.
It was just
not
a
get
hit.
Out of your head, whether you liked it or not.
Yeah, it was everywhere. And then I remember I was chatting to him before he signed a deal, and he was telling me the kind of figures and the competition that was going on. And I was like, okay, things have really changed now. You upload a video, and as soon as it's got a few numbers within 24, 36, A&Rs are just after these kids, trying to sign them straight away. And then that led to a conversation, I'd say 9 months, a year down the line, where I was like, I feel like I've started a relationship, and like I've helped when no one wants to help. Then, oh, here's the numbers. Oh, we know it's good. We're gonna sign it, and then like they'll go to Sony or Universal. And it was a point in my life where I felt a bit bitter about that. I saw A&Rs posing with their plaques for the singles that were getting silver and gold, and then part of me was thinking, I helped discover that. Really, you just signed it once you saw it's on 1 million views, and it can't really fail from there. So yeah, I'm not proud to say, but I was a bit bitter at that time. Sometimes I was messaging my cousin a lot, like, how's this working? Anyway, I kept saying, yeah, like fair play to the A&R for taking the risk, but at that point it was just a checkbook exercise, isn't it? Who's got the most money? We've signed it. You haven't done taken a leap of faith here.
Yeah.
And that was my argument. I was like, well, if we're putting them on our channel, we're hearing them first, why don't we sign them? And then long story short, there was a lot of negotiations that I wasn't privy to or not involved in, above my pay grade, and GRM Records was formed, and that's where we are today, about 3 years down the line. Yeah, label's been around for 3 years now. Like I said, we've done the Slim mixtape. First thing we put out, Top 40 mixtape, which was dope. Wasn't actually expecting that result. I don't think the label was either, because it's a joint venture, so we do it with Parlophone Warner. Weren't expecting that. Number 36. Then J1 happened, which for me was like a real, what would you call it? Proof that I knew what I was doing at this point in time. Because no one really massively believed in the kid. I just heard his voice and I thought, oh, you know, and the way he was rapping, it was like I say, I don't think it's an insult. It was slightly dumbed down, simpler rap, right? It weren't super complex metaphors and all that. It was just easy listen rap. And I knew there was a space for that because I'm not from inner London either. So you can say it's suburban, I don't know what the word is, right? But slightly outside of London, Fiat 500 Twitter, yeah, I know what they're like because I live near a lot of them. I went to school in a very white school, right? So I've experienced what they don't listen to Gets and go, oh, that's amazing. They listen to this.
Because they can't. They don't look into it that deeply.
Yeah, they're not looking at the complex raps and the rhyming schemes. They're just what's easy to listen to, what sounds good, what's catchy. You know, like another cousin of mine who I sat down with, as you can tell, my family plays a big part in my life. And he always said, like, when you listen to Freak of the Week by Crepton Conan, I don't want no drama unless you Rihanna. If you go to the concerts and their shows, the crowd is screaming that one back. But if you ask Crep, what's the hardest one to you think that, like,
of course not.
That line is nowhere near the complexity of some of his lyrics, right? And that always made me think there's definitely a market for someone like this. Anyway, yeah, so that deal got done. Took a lot of persuasion. It was a relatively small scale deal, given where he was at. Boom, he done Good Vibes, which is a silver track now. That was a £2,000 video, I think, max, and a lot of that was just on his outfit. The actual video cost low. Then Becky, which I think was even less, £800. That was just in Nottingham. I think he shot that. And the boy is just rolling. One extra, first million views, then 2, then 3, and it's like, okay, this is nuts. What's happening here? Then because Jay in his early, it was very fun. Like he just used to put things out. You'd wake up, right, I went to bed, all good, Jay, all well. Wake up, and he's put a preview up on Instagram, right? And the whole label's, what the hell is it? Like, we didn't agree, this is part of the plan. And one of them was your missus. And the reaction to that, when people heard the slow beat and the drop, I'm taking your missus, people are like, what the hell, this is, bro, his Instagram was going off. So as a label, you quickly got to pivot, that's the next single, right? And then you're almost working backwards because he's built up the demand already. So we're shooting a video, budget's definitely a bit bigger because just based on Instagram preview numbers, they're like, all right, cool, we can allow a bigger budget for this one. Massive hit, gold single now, 400,000 sold, 20 million views, it's everywhere, right? Mocking It was a follow-up hit, that's silver. So the boys now sold 1 million records at this point when you actually combine the numbers. Extremely successful. And for me, it looks great because I've signed him and I'm the one that's essentially like your scout or a football club. No one else thinks his boy's going to make it, but he makes it. That scout looks great. The manager said no. The assistant said, manager said no, but you know, someone believed in him, right? So for me, that looks great at this point in time. And then from there, put out the J Styles mixtape as well, which was, for me, it was just a passion thing. Like, I really like this artist, and it's something that I listen to. And then today we're in 2021. This has been a slow year. I actually just signed something today for the first time in 9 months. But it's been a slow. The music's kind of adjusted. Things have changed a little bit.
A lot of artists have almost been different this year as well.
Yeah, a lot has changed. I've changed and grown up as well. You know, I was 22, 23 at this time. So my taste has changed. So just kind of spectating, working out what the next move is going to be. So it's been a quiet 9 months, which I've not been happy about. But I use that time to reflect and grow instead. And that's that. We're it.
So having been at GRM and seeing it evolve over the years as well, would you say, I mean, this is probably going to be a biased opinion, but would you say, like, from an honest point of view, that GRM is the leader in that space from a YouTube media side of things? YouTube media,
black music and content, I'd say yes. I think the most subscribers, most views, so you can't really argue that. But don't get me wrong, it can change anytime.
Of course, yeah.
You have to stay. And I watched the Nada episode, and I remember she said something about Linkup TV is the only independent one. That's not true. Like, GRM's fully independent.
Shots fired.
Big up her. She's dope, yeah. I remember seeing her first time Jewelers content launch party. I said, yeah, this woman's dope. She's sick at her job. But that, I just wanted to clarify, when I watched it myself, I was like, I don't really like the fact that that's been peddled out when it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
It's fully independent as well, playing the same playing field as everyone else. Just, yeah, it's just been a success.
Do you think Rated Awards has also been a big part of the growth of GRM?
I'm sure it contributed. I'm sure it works hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, it could go on to be his bigger standalone thing, really, if it all goes well. And I think with award shows, this is my personal opinion, I think with award shows you need the years of history behind it to give it, like, if you invented the Ballon d'Or today, what is that? It's the history of the Ballon d'Or that makes it beautiful, right? And the Brit Award.
And who else has won it and things like that.
You know what I mean? So in 30 years, if Rated Awards is still around, and it's like, oh, in 2020, Stormzy won one, and now this is the first person to win 5 in a year, whatever. That kind of stuff is what builds an award show. But I think, one day, I think the ceiling's mad high for that.
I love the fact that, like, there's a lot of innovation though, because, like, certain things like Rated Awards, it is kind of a risk, like, in the short term, but it's building into the platform and building into, like, the name and the brand, and that's why you have so many great sponsors and things like that. It's
I've been lucky enough to attend every one, and its growth is amazing. Like, the first one was in a church, like in a church in, like, Grace. It's called Grace Point, I think it was, or something like that. Essex Road train station. I remember getting off at. And then, all the way to Camden, Roundhouse, to Hammersmith Apollo, and, like, now the virtual ones because of COVID. Even them, I think they look amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see that 6 years in. I don't know where it can go, man.
So I'm guessing you never really envisioned to end up in A&R.
Nah, it wasn't the plan. I was a journalist. I was studying journalism at uni before I dropped out.
It was just a random pivot.
Yeah, I've always been the guy that had a lit playlist in my friend's car, innit? Always. Or, like, the nerd that was on LimeWire looking for the best songs, and then imimusic.net. Like, I would just download every album.
That's a throwback, LimeWire.
Remember LimeWire? Classic. And IMI as well, man, when they shut their LimeWire and Kazan, all that down. I am one music.net. It was called Immy, I think the guy's name was. Yeah, every single album that dropped, he would post it on there, right? And you just download it. And I had a little MP3 player, and that's how I discovered Nas. I was only like
Wow.
2008, and it's just like, oh, this is guy Nas. Immy's posted it, so I just downloaded it. And like, I'm listening to Louis. This song's got called Louis Farrakhan at 11 years old, or there's a song literally called like the N word, and all this complex stuff, and I don't understand it. I'm in year 6, and I'm listening to it like, this is nuts. And eventually, that's how I always had the best playlist, because I was just listening to everything that came through on his website. So I guess you could say it might have been destined to be here, but it was never in the plan. I didn't know that's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just thought I enjoyed music.
What would you say is your proudest moment in being with GRM? Was it J1?
That first top 20, when Jay went top 20, I was like, yo, because 20 is like,
This is big.
that's you're on radio and you're listening. I think, is it Scott Mills that does it? I don't know if it was Fern Cotton at the time or Reggie Yates, but just hearing, and at number 20, and then you go on the official charts and it says GRM Records, and then they get the plaque, and I hung my first plaque. Even for mum, like, mum listened to Michael Jackson, all this stuff, and back then you see plaques in the studios, so she knew what a plaque was.
Mm-hmm.
So when that first plaque came and I hung it up, that's probably my proudest moment, I'd say.
You've also, I'm guessing, seen the growth of the actual industry and how influential UK rap and hip hop is now, because it wasn't always like this. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, like listening to Sneak Bowl, even before that, like Skepta and Gigs, when it was like dirty grime. I used to have a Sony Ericsson and play it from there. But I guess where they paved a lot of the way now, it's at new heights.
We just had a dual record go number 1. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. It's breaking new ground all the time, and with that comes new challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are seeing the space. Like, there's artists that was super popping 2 years ago that struggling now. Like, you're seeing the space kind of reform.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's the pure consumption? Like, we listen to music too quick?
I don't think it's that. I think there was a time and place for a certain sound, which may not have been the most, like, you wouldn't critically evaluate or review it and say it was epic, but if it was great at the time and it sounded good, but you have to evolve and start making music that
something next
is a bit more critical, you know what I mean, a bit more ready for review and just a bit more well-rounded. And I think certain people could only make that kind of song, and that started to fade off. People, you can't keep making the same song again and again and again, and a lot of people forget like what getting famous does. Like, becoming famous, you have to change your whole life.
The first mixtape is always the best.
Yeah,
it's different.
Like, there's a struggle in that, which is some people are great at conveying that struggle message, and then it's like, well, now I've made it.
Mm-hmm. Now I have to talk about what I've got.
Yeah, and that's a struggle. But in B, just in general, you don't know what they're going through. They're all human beings, bro. Like, keeping that level of output out is very hard. Like, you don't know what someone might have gone through. Like, you might have, your friends might have changed up on you after your mum. Like, I always use the Adebayor reference. Adebayor's a footballer, yeah. And like, when he went back to Togo, his mum and his sisters are like basically laundering all his money, building mad stuff in Togo, not told him, and like asking for more money. Like, all these things can be happening in someone's life when they start making money. You don't realize. So
more money, more problems.
Yeah, exactly. More money. That's why I don't really envy anyone that's like famous, because like, you know,
because fame and money, when it comes together, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, like, you can't publicly really even go out and enjoy things, like, and you just don't know the kind of effect that has on some people, man. So I think that's a combination, as well as not evolving musically.
Do you also get to see that, like the mental side of an artist, obviously being a part of the development side of things?
Yeah, man. Like me and Jay are friends, and you know, I mean, I don't want to put his business out there until he's ready to put his business out there. But you all saw like what Twitter was like at this point in time after a certain episode of a certain show. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. Like, when you just tweet someone's name, you might think that it's just aimless. It's not going anywhere. But this person just has to type their name on Twitter and they can see that tweet, that horrible, nasty thing that you've written. There's another human being behind the thing that you're just rapping and putting music out.
I feel like the UK is
like,
very toxic.
It is
more than the US.
I think the US is bigger. So in the UK, like in the US, you can say something and be a flight away. You know, whereas the UK, everything's so close, you can't really miss anything. And like if you type in Little Dirk on Twitter, for example, there's probably 1,000 tweets, 10,000. Whereas if you type in J1, for example, and something's got 400 retweets, it's the first thing you see. The algorithm just puts it at the top because there's not that many tweets going out about you. Like it's a smaller audience you're dealing with. And I remember when I used to type them in just to see, oh, what's the vibe like today? What are people saying? Why is this one? And I used to get vexed like it was my son or like someone that I was related to. I used to think, why? You don't know the boy. What do you want him to do? And especially people like that are also then saying, oh, knife crime is a problem. All that. This is just a kid who's rapping, making money, changing mum's life. Like, cool, you don't like it, you don't have to like it. Why do you have to go and like abuse someone online? I don't know, it's strange. But yeah, man, it has an effect. And dealing with everyone wants you for, not, and it's not in Jay's case, but in general, like everyone wants you for a feature. The buzz goes, you're now holding for the feature, no one's answering, you can't get a PA booking, you've gone from 10 million views to 100k, 50k, like that's a lot.
Dog eat dog world. And
all this time, you probably, in most cases, you're like 21, and now you're like 26. No one's like, it's not happened when you're 20 and you're 35, you've fallen off, or 40, you've had 15, 20 years at the top. It's happening in a short amount of time, and that can never be good for someone, like a roller coaster life.
That's why I almost, like, the conversation always happens about the value of being signed versus being independent.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not in that space, but from my perspective, because we do it with influencers, like we do a lot of influencer management as well, so part of that has made me realize that the value of a label, if you have a good situation, is that they're that extra layer of support. And sometimes, like for example, if you're independent, there's so much risk that could go wrong. Like you might just be too free, and the people that you've hired around you, they might not tell you how a label would tell you. A lot of the times, things that labels are telling you not to do, it can be in your benefit. So what would you say is the main kind of advantage of being signed versus being independent?
A label has a team dedicated in each. It has a marketing manager, has a press manager, has a radio manager, like people that are maybe graduates in these roles, or they know the terms. They have their own networks. So you're tapping into 6 different books. You know, the head of radio at your label might be really cool with the head of radio at Radio 1 or BBC One Extra, and that's just a simple phone call and a favour, and it's done. And the head of press might know someone at, not to use Vogue, I'm trying to think of a UK magazine, but you know what I mean, they might know someone there that can just slip you a favour because... And
relationships matter.
Yeah, so you're now dealing with 6 different contact books to help push this one artist. So that's always an advantage. But I always say the ball has to be rolling a little bit, like a car. If your car's at 30, a label can take it to 70, 80, and now you're on the motorway. Right, but you're already moving yourself. You're still pushing the pedal down. You just got a bit of a nitro push. You can't be from 0 mile an hour. A label can't get the car moving, I don't think.
Because a lot of the time, those manufactured ones don't really work anyway.
Yeah, maybe in pop, I should say that I need to make that disclaimer. Maybe in pop, and you can build it. But in the UK black music space, rap space, I don't think someone with 0 buzz can just sign and get developed and get pushed out and just be massive. You have to already be moving yourself and then sign and then enhance everything. And you have to be willing to listen. You'll be surprised how many artists sign the deal and then just, no, I'm doing it. Well, what was the point? Are you just using it for a cash loan, or like, that makes no sense? Because people at these labels do know what they're talking about. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of labels and a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about and winging it, but you have to have an element of trust there. Look at some data, look at the metrics and think, all right, cool, I can do it. I'm going to listen. In some cases, if you're staying independent, you just build a brilliant team that could, like AJ Tracy's team, brilliant, and he ticks all the boxes that he needs to, that a label would do. But again, then these people have distribution, so it's not really independent like that you own your masters, but you still have a team around you. That's what I'm saying. You definitely need a team. People think independent is just you and your manager and just go. You need a team,
Nothing
bro. Trust me.
Alone,
yeah,
honestly.
You need a team, whether that be distribution or a producer deal or a full-on record label, whatever it is. even if
But-
you just go through Ditto.
But do you think that obviously you're in the GRM record space? I'm guessing you've had some insight into major labels and how they do things. Would you say there are like some problematic things from that point of view where artists that are coming out and saying, I don't get along with my label or this that there's actually weight there and there's a lot of truth in major labels potentially like not having the best interest?
It's a tough one. I'm not even saying it as a guy that works but a label is, and it's rare that a label is being spiteful. They're just interpreting something differently to you.
They're doing what's best for business.
Yeah.
Which benefits you to a certain extent.
Savage sometimes, because you might really want to put that song out because I saw an example recently of a guy saying, I got told not to put a song out because it's COVID and like no one's listening to music. But in his head, his interpretation of it was everyone's at home, everyone's listening to music, I want to put my song out, right? But because the deal he'd signed didn't allow him that creative control, the label boss thinks it's a bad idea. You can't put a song out in COVID because you can't shoot a video. It's going to be a waste. They don't put it out. And he's upset. But the label's not really wrong because they're looking at data and there are loads of different numbers and gadgets and stuff that they're
looking at it as this is my creation.
Yeah.
Like you're insulting
and
my baby or something.
They're zooming out, and whereas the artist is burning passion to put music out, or my fans are DMing. Bro, fans DM you crazy stuff. Like you can drop 2 weeks and 2 weeks later, yo bro, it's been months, where are you? Like people saying DBE drop, it's been so long. It's like they just gave you like 3 mixtapes in a space of 18 months. Like chill, but you know what I'm saying? So then all these things play on your mind and you start thinking, all right, I really need to drop music. And then that's an example like that happens. You have a disagreement. So no one's wrong, but
I think
two different points of
music's
view.
just evolved because, like you said, at one point it was, physical hard copies versus now streaming, and then on top of that, like how much the market has opened and how many artists there are as well. Like there's a lot of competition. So like the consumption, like Drake for example, he said that like you have to release regular music, and if you're not dropping your own stuff, jump on features.
That's the Drake model.
That's the Drake model.
But there's like, you've seen someone in the UK like Nines,
Yeah.
drop an album, minimal campaign,
Crazy.
disappear for 12 months. J Hus.
It's very hard to execute that though, don't you think? To stay relevant.
It is very different, but I think that just shows what a great artist you are, how good the music is. Like J Hus can come back anytime. If J Hus comes back in 5 years, people are still listening to, maybe more people listen to that music because it's even more epic. Adele just done 6 years. I think it was 6 years. 6 years, no release. Comes back, breaks all records. Like, there's certain people that can, and they're built that way, and the talent maybe is just that great. And certain people that employ the Drake model. And I wouldn't say Drake's not talented. I think he's one of the best rappers around. That's just Drake's model. And again, he's using Instagram and TikTok and, like you said, features as a strategy. That's not a fluke. He's built a strategy, and it's targeted and it's on purpose to do this, to stay relevant.
I could have a music conversation all day. Like one more thing I was going to say was, is that you touched up on TikTok and Instagram. Do you think that you can manufacture a top success tune now, like with how obviously Russ and Tion did it? Like people are saying, is this like the system now? You put it into TikTok, make it explode, and
again, that's, bro. When people say this, or like an industry plant, bro. If you could buy an industry plant, I would take my life savings out and buy it so I could have a success. There's no such thing. There's certain methods that you can apply that are just common, but when it works, that's still not an industry plant. That just means it worked for this guy and it connected. Like the transition in that video that became a TikTok, no one could predict. I'm sorry. If you predicted that's gonna happen, and that's why you did the transition in the video and shot it like that, you'll be a millionaire with that kind of foresight.
bigger.
Yeah, with that kind of you know what I mean? Everyone would hire you to just do that. It was good timing. It's a good idea, good execution, and a little bit of luck. That people watched it and said, I really want to do this. You look at Don't Rush, Young T and Bugsy, right? Did they make that song with a makeup challenge in mind? No. They just made a banger, and it
organically happened.
That video was actually doing quite slow.
It was a lot later than the release.
Because when we played it in the office, we were like, yo, this is a banger. Everyone in the office loved it. And then the views were kind of, I was like, oh, that song, I think it was on like 1.8 million views at one point, and just like slow trending backwards. I was like, oh, that's strange. And before you know it, TikTok's women are throwing their brushes at the camera. Next thing you know, I think it's now our most viewed video, and maybe second behind Barking, and a monster hit in the US. And it's like, you know what I mean? How there's no science behind that.
Yeah.
It's just a good bit of luck, good bit of timing.
It's crazy. I love the insight though.
Yeah,
I love the
you
insight.
can't manufacture a body, bro. That's a smash. That's a smash. People think maybe they manufactured it because they've done Keisha Becky, but all they've done is just look at that, see how that worked, take some of the good bits, and do it again. And that's not manufacture. That's
People
smart.
are always gonna have opinions, regardless. With success comes.
I think from the outside
opinions.
looking in, like before I worked in the music industry, I believed in the Illuminati and all these things. Like, it's hard, isn't it? Like when you're looking at, you don't have any information, so you're just assuming. So I get it, but boy, if they ever sell an industry plant package, I'm involved, man. I want that. That's crazy.
So we talked a lot about, you know, the industry and some of the success that you've had with artists. But I'm guessing in your journey, there's also been a lot of hardships. Like the past 9 months, you were saying you were really frustrated with not being able to make as much probably planned as what you had in mind. So what were some of the things that you learned in your journey, and things that maybe people could benefit from, like either whether in the music industry or just grinding in anything they want to do? Because by the way, like one of the reasons why I was super interested with this episode is because, you know, there's entrepreneurial habits that you can implement in a job.
Yeah.
Like being an entrepreneur. And that's what I see you as. Like you are part of a great kind of platform and infrastructure, but you're having that ability to think by yourself and make your own judgments. So what were some of the hardships that you faced?
I don't know if I'd call them hardship, bro. Do you know what? It's just lessons, bro. Like I have very honest conversations with my friends. Shout out all of them, like Faraz, Lawrence, Nick, like them lot that are there. Yeah, we will have very honest conversations as a group of 4 about life. No alpha male business. No, like man can admit I cried last week, or you can say, bro, I'm upset about like. And for me, that's very important as a group of friends that you can have these kind of conversations, because they allow you to reflect and grow. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that don't have that conversation ever, maybe only with themselves at night. But that's what allows me to stay grounded, firstly, and secondly, keep growing and keep reflecting and thinking, all right, cool, what have I done wrong here that I can fix? And like the last 9 months, I haven't signed anything, and I haven't loved anything that I've really wanted to sign. And I'll speak to the boy like, bro, I'm frustrated, like what's going on? And they're like, bro, like you've proven that you can spot talent, right? You've proven that. So don't worry about it. Certain times things just don't fall right. Keep going, keep look, have you kept up with trends? Have you got TikTok? And like last year I was like, nah, like who needs, it's like, bro, things are going off on TikTok. Download TikTok, stay on top, you know what I mean? And then you keep learning and growing like that. So I wouldn't say hardships, I would say just lessons, bro. Like always looking to be the best version of you. I don't think at any point I was the best A&R in the country. That should be the goal. So I know there's always learning to be done. Like having 2 top 20 hits doesn't mean you've made it and you can chill. And at points I was guilty of chilling. Like my main goal was to prove to myself I know what I'm talking about. But once I've done that, bro, no one cares 6 months later. You got to do it again. And then do it again, and do it 5, 6, 7, 8 times before you can then go be an A&R manager and an A&R director and then head up a label. And my thing was always like, I need to rush it. And this year definitely there's so much time, bro. I'm 26.
It's almost I think a byproduct of social media. Like,
yeah.
Because growing up we didn't have social media, and we saw the world before social media.
Yeah.
And I feel like now is even more of a rush to achieve things. Like, why should it be right now? Like, yes, you don't want to be complacent and you want to be working towards your goals right now, but at the same time, life is long. Like you don't need to achieve.
Bro.
In fact, if you achieve something right now, it's gonna make it harder for you, because then you have to achieve even more and more and more to be happy.
It's so hard to explain because life is short, is a saying, a popular one, and it is true. It can pass you by, but day by day, life is long. There's so much time. Like I dropped out of uni. When did you go uni? 18, 19?
18, yeah.
18. I dropped out my first year because I was writing at Linkup, and they offered me like a little paid role, and I was like, Josh, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and just dropped out. And I thought 3 years are so long for undergrad, I can't wait. Just dropped out, bro. I went back to uni this year. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a master's now, thankfully, because I managed to skip the thing. But I was like, I want to go back now. I want to. Like I'm thinking, why did you drop out at 18, thinking 21 was too late to start? And then I was sitting there now thinking it's too late to start. You're 26 now. And I just thought, nah, fuck that. Like, it's never, bro. When I'm 35, I'm gonna say it's too late. And I thought, this is never. I'm a day older tomorrow, all right? So let's just do it and just get it done. Because whatever happens, I saw something on Instagram and someone was like, if you think taking 2 years to do something is too long, you're still gonna be there in 2 years' time and be the person you are. You could have just done that course or achieved whatever it was in that time that you wanted to, and just get there slowly. And you know what I mean? And that's one lesson I've taken on this year, definitely. Like, you can chill out, take your time, bro. It's no rush, bro. Like,
you're competing with yourself.
Old. Yeah, like 40's not old, bro. Like, really, you look at it and think that's scary, but there's so much time. Like, God willing, 26 now, average age was 76. Like, deaths 80, life expectancy. That's another 50 years on this planet. Barely a third in to life. There's 2/3 and some more to go if I live as long as I should, technically, right? Bro, that's a long time, you know.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of it becomes about obviously achieving a certain amount of success in order to show it.
For who?
And then what?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
For who, bro? Like,
because when you break it down and say, okay, you want to earn X amount or you want to have X amount, you know, certain achievement, but who's that? Is that really for yourself? Is that for the goals that you're trying to get, or is it so you can have a nice post on Instagram?
That's what I'm saying. People need to ask themselves that question. Like, I read a book recently called Atomic Habits, and it's like about 1% growth a day. Like, small. You're not just gonna wake up all of a sudden and, for example, maybe quit smoking or whatever it is that someone might be trying to cut. Like, if you have one less, you've got 365 days in a year. If you make a small guy have one less a day, eventually you'll stop. Or try and think of a bit like going gym. You're not gonna have massive biceps after a day, but it sounds simple, right? But when you read the book, it breaks it down for you nicely, and you're just like, hang on, there's so much time to pick up a habit, adopt the habit, and then it just becomes second nature. And I think people need to just, the Instagram thing is one thing, and the social, but people need to slow down maybe and just realize, I don't know, some people might want to do it all at once, and fair enough, that motivates. But for me, I feel like now, when I got to 26 and said, I've had the hits that I wanted, I've got the job that I wanted, I've got the car that I wanted, oh shit, I need to realign what I'm doing it for, so then the happiness lasts a bit longer. It's not based on something material that once you've got, like, I want a rollie for time, I want the light blue Arabic Darrow, I'm like, yeah, I want that, but I know even when I get that, if I haven't aligned properly and I haven't set real purpose, the rollie's going to get boring.
That
just like the car gets
way
boring.
Better than the result.
Way better. So yeah, just learning these things. Another book that I read, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Sick book. I'm not even gonna go into it, so I don't want to spoil it. But read that book and you'll just be like, you feel like you just had an awakening, bro. You're like, oh shit. You nodded like he's read it. Sick, innit? I'm telling you, bro. Read that if you haven't read it, yeah. And you're just.
I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't read it.
You're just so chill. Like, I don't know, man. I can't even put it into words how I first felt when I started reading that book. I was like, this is what I needed on paper for me to understand that I've got so much time.
So what does success mean to you now? Having had that realization.
Being happy, like, I can go Tesco's now, yeah, in the dirtiest clothes with my slippers, looking horrible, no trim, and I don't give a shit what anyone says. Before, like 2 years ago, bro, I'm putting a bit of aftershave on and fresh trainers on just to go Tesco's on the chance I might bump into someone I know. Like, that's crazy. Like, that for me, I am at happiness, I think, and success. Like, that for me to just be completely comfortable in my skin. Bro, before, if we did this 2 years ago, I would have made sure my trim's pattern. I booked a trim that day. I've got a spot here, I've got a spot there, bro. That's like, I've got a spot here right now. 2 years ago, that would have wound me up. But letting go of them insecurities, I'm successful, bro. I'm happy. Like, want to make Mumsy I want Mum to completely retire, and I know she doesn't even want to. She enjoys, but not have any financial burden at all. Yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want to, Mum. I'm good. I've got this. That for me is success, I think, and that's it. There's not much else.
How important has family been in your journey? Because I know you mentioned that you're very close with your family, and I'm also guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, that coming from the background that you do, this wasn't necessarily the easiest path to get into, unless it was a different situation.
Luckily, my mum's British born, yeah, so she's the youngest of 6. So she's kind of felt the pressures already of like Pakistani pressure, and how it can affect your life choices and block your blessings. So my mum, thankfully, has always let me do kind of what I want, figure it out. I'm not going to stop you because I've been stopped. I know how it feels. But my dad died when I was 11, so that for me was like ruined the first 5, 6. Like I started secondary school that year, innit? And that summer he passed away. So them 5 years kind of went a blur and probably ruined a bit of my development. And kind of you have to grow up and be a man of the house. Essentially, my mum didn't need that. She's a man of the house. She don't need, you know what I mean? She's a strong woman, didn't need no. But you're still kind of feeling that pressure, and that kind of forced me to be a certain way. But that also made me really focus on my relationships with my family, because I didn't have much now. There's 3 of us in the house. So it's like my cousins are very important to me. All my mum's sisters live next to each other. We're like, one's 10 minutes there, one's 5 minutes, one's 5 minutes. And then in terms of music, funny coincidence, because we're from Watford, there's a producer, a British Pakistani producer called Naughty Boy from Watford.
Of course.
And my cousin is one of, I'll say best friend,
instrumental in that.
one of his very close friends, yeah, my cousin Shaq. His right hand used to go in the studio all the time. And these times it's like Bashi, Wretch, Chipmunk, Shah just produced Diamond Rings for Chip, and I loved Chip. So it's like, wow, there's this guy from Watford, British, Pakistani, Muslim guy doing all these things. So the role model and the path is already set. Like you can see it's possible. And then like your mum and your family know of him and of his family. And it's like, all right, cool. There's this guy doing it. So maybe it's not such a bad career. So then my other cousin, Hanan, was like designing his MySpace, signed an act to him back in the day. So he's always in the studio with Shah all the time as well. So it's like 2 of my cousins are working with Naughty on a regular. So there's 3 British Pakistanis from my area are doing it. 2 of them are family. So
it was a little bit more normal for you.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a massive shock. My grandma wasn't like, oh my god, like, because I wasn't the first one to do it. So luckily I had that kind of, it's a mad blessing, and I guess like a coincidence just to be able to have that to fall back on. And like if I was getting studio and I was coming back at 1, 2, I'll be like, oh, Mum, I'm with Shaq. And I'll be like, Shaq and Mum asked, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, we're all here, we're behaving and all that. And he's like, oh, I got you. And even sometimes when I wasn't, I would use that one just so, like, I might be on a late shoot or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm with Shaq though, it's all right. And because he's my older cousin, you're all good, all right, stay out. Like, you know what I mean? My mum's like, yeah, cool then. So Shaq's actually the one that I was delivering flyers for a nightclub. And I went to a Naughty Boy show and he was backstage. And he was like, oh, what you doing? Like nowadays, you don't see your cousins all the time, right? He's busy. And I was like, oh, I'm just at Cameo delivering like flyers. He's like, what? Why are you doing that for? No cousin of mine's delivering flyers at 11 p.m. at night. Like, that's not the job for you. I'm going to get you an interview tomorrow. Bro, we went studio and Crep's there. And he's like, yo, Crep, can my little cousin interview you? Like, he's working at Linkup TV writing. Like, can you do that? He's like, yeah, sure. You're right. I never done the Crep one, funnily enough, because he was busy that day. But he sought me out another one with a rapper from Derby called Eyes. And that was my first major interview and like proper written piece. And yeah, big up Shaq. I don't think I've ever bigged him up for that actually, but that was what set me off and got me going, okay, I can do this. And again, like, hopefully there's young British Pakistanis that see what I'm doing, see what you're doing, seeing what a lot of the new younger generation that don't have the same pressure from their parents are doing. That should enable more young creatives, South Asian background, man, because there's not a lot of us. Getting there though.
I love that, man. Yeah, honestly, inspiring. And obviously go into as much detail as you wish, but your dad passing, I'm guessing there's a lot of people watching now that may have experienced something similar, or maybe an auntie or uncle, or maybe their own parents themselves. And you've achieved what you've achieved. How did that play a part in growing up, and what kind of advice could you give for anyone in a similar situation?
What advice would you...
Because a guy perspective is different to a female perspective of not having a dad.
Definitely. For me, like, you know, getting like your first bit of pubic hair or beard or whatever, like, I'm asking mum how to shave, like, these things, you know what I'm saying? People forget that stuff, like, it's bad embarrassing, but it allows you to build that bond with your mum, which is great. And luckily, mum held it together where we didn't feel we had to carry her pain, like whatever she was going through, losing her husband. And then my granddad died 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
So Mumsy lost her husband and then her dad in the space of 3 months. So like,
strong woman.
It could have, yeah, man, big up Mumsy. But that could have just fallen through in it, and just she had every right to then be depressed for the next 3-4 years, innit? Like anyone would, but she held it together and kind of that was always my reason to keep going. You know what I'm saying?
That's where I was going, and that's what I was hoping you'd go because I find it super fascinating. Like, maybe if that didn't happen, I mean, we don't know. Obviously, you know that happened, and this is the situation. This is the cards that were dealt. But that hunger maybe was developed further,
bro. It's
and that rush
so
of
mad
having
to
to
say,
make it.
yeah, because it's death. But there's a silver lining.
Silver linings.
In the death is I value all my relationships or people that I love because from a young age, I've seen how quickly you can lose someone, right? And I learned that very quickly. So I never really took for granted my friends and my family. Like, when I'm with them, I'm with them. I love you. I'm happy to tell you. Because I never got to tell my pops I love him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
As an adult, as a grown man.
That day, my dad wanted to go park that day for a walk. And I was like, I'm tired. Like, we'll go tomorrow.
Wow.
So for me, it was always like, your friends, bro, I love you, innit? Your sister, I love you. Whoever it is, like, I want them to know that I value you. Because you never know. Even when Cadet died, for me, that was mad because he always used to tell, like, he was mad, like, open. Like, bro,
He seemed like a bubbly guy.
Yeah, like, bro, I love you, you know. And he'll tell all his friends. And, like, it's mad important because that's how they remember him. And they got memories of him saying, I love you and I adore you and I'm fond of whatever it may be. At least he didn't hold it back.
Which is all we can really ask for. Because
Bro.
we're all going to leave this world at some point.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's one inevitable. So, like, for me, even at 26, it sounds mad stupid to say, but how I'm remembered when I'm gone is what impression I leave is very important. And how I don't want people to, like, whatever I do to piss you off, I still want you to know he was a good guy and he has space, he has time and space for us. Like, that is very important. The legacy is very important to me personally.
Because ultimately, it's not about how many people are around you in this life. It's about how many people are going to come to your funeral.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, you want to leave that, and it's very deep for a podcast, but you want to leave that good impression behind when you're gone, man. You want everyone to think fondly, and you can't please everyone. But me, I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I don't like animosity. I don't like negative energy. Like, we might not get along naturally, then that's fine. But at least you might respect me, or I know it's cool. If you need something, you can phone me, and I will do my best to try and help or accommodate, kind of thing. That's my energy anyway. I don't know, but that, yeah, like you said, that did give me the strength, and that it's mad to call death, like, to have a silver lining from death. But if there was one, that would be it. It made me love and appreciate people, and like, I can't fail. It's not a possibility, bro. You can't do that. What are you gonna do? Like, you've got mum, you've got a brother, someone is, you know what I mean? You need to make it. And it can't be any worse than that as well. From like 11, you felt the worst kind of pain. So rejection, like, if I went for a job interview and you don't get it, so what? Like,
it prepared you for real life.
Yeah, like, I've got over and carried on from my dad dying. So cool, I didn't get the job. There's more jobs. There's not more dads. You get me? Like, that's the worst. There's more jobs, bro. There's more women. You know what I mean? Getting rejected by your first girlfriend or whatever. Like, it's alright. There's certain things that are irreplaceable in life, and I think that's what I learned as well. But subconsciously, you have to read in books. Kind of made me learn some of my personality traits and my behaviors and my patterns, because I couldn't word it. I couldn't put it in theory until you've seen examples of it, read examples of it. Oh, that's me. And then you kind of learn what kind of person you are, which is very important, bro.
Has reading always been important to you?
Nah. When I was young, I loved the library.
Because obviously you went into journalism as well.
I like reading papers. I like if you put the chase on like a general knowledge quiz show, like, I'm trying to answer them all. Like, I like to know things. Yeah. You know what I mean?
General
to
knowledge.
Appear smart and whatever. But in terms of reading, like, non-fiction books, I didn't do that until I was like 22, 23.
Because that's how, by the way, most kids growing up here grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in certain parts of London, like, reading was almost not cool.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, it's a disadvantage.
Cool,
it's a major disadvantage. And even if you can't read, because me, I don't always have the time to read.
Yeah.
But then I might slap on an audiobook on my way when I'm driving, and technically you're consuming that information.
You're consuming it. And it's like, I saw two things that made me want to read. One was a quote that was like, information they want to keep from you, they'll put in a book, right? Things they don't want you to know. And two, Bill Gates takes like 6 books with him on every holiday he goes to. I think he reads like a book a day or every 2 days. And I was like, right, if you're doing it, it must be a reason, right? It must be. So I'm nowhere near on that rate, of course. I think I've read like 5 in the last year, 4 or 5, bro. I'm slow, but learning something every time, which is sick. That's all I want to do, bro. Just like at the end of the day, be a good role model too. Like, I don't want to give you advice that I've just fabricated or just I'm trying to sound smart. I want to be able to say, oh, I've learned this here, and this is like I'm relaying it to you. And you know, like there's a lot of young kids out there that you can help by knowing the right things and the right things to say. So knowledge is important for me, 100%.
You know what I love like about the whole legacy thing is that's partly why I started this. It was never about like views or the success of the podcast. It was about, firstly, I'm meeting people and learning their stories and really like silencing the world around me because life gets crazy. But when you're in the studio and when you're shooting, I just switch off from the world and I'm listening to this conversation, which in real life you don't get that. So that was number one. And then number two was legacy. So not just for me, but then the guests that I'm getting on, like it's a cool thought to think that your kids could be watching this episode like back and seeing, oh, like what was my dad like? You know, because you can imagine YouTube is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. In some way, it might be a metaverse or whatever it is, but it is going to keep growing. And that thought, like, we didn't have that insight.
That's the beauty of the internet as well, though. Like, I love that Google advert that was around years ago when they was filming their child and just putting it in a drive and giving it to her at like 16. I love that. That's the kind of thing I want to do as well. Technology is mad, bro.
100%.
But yeah, that it is. It's not everything, but like, bro, man, there's only so much you can do for yourself until like. Who says it? Nas says it on a song. To receive's great, but a lust given. Like, I don't even know if he's saying that in a sexual sense or whatever. But for me, I used to tweet that line all the time because I get way more joy out of. Like, I bought my mum an Apple Watch like 2 years ago. Yeah, for Father's Day. I bought because we buy a Father's Day, so I bought an Apple Watch. Yeah, and everything I bought myself, I swear to you, nothing felt better than giving her that, and her being like, "Oh, that's for me." It's only like a 4 bills, like an Apple Watch, 354 bills. And I've spent more than that on like a pair of trainers for myself and dashed them after a year. But that one, now even every time I see it on her wrist, I know she looks after it and cares for it because I bought it for her. And it's like, that feeling, bro, is different. I know it's cliche, I bought my mum a car, everyone, rappers do all the time, right? But that feeling taught me that I love
because it's bigger than
giving. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't beat that feeling of helping other people, rewarding other people, whatever it is that you do, bro. That's, for me personally, that's what I enjoy. But
we got proper deep, man. Honestly, what would you say? Like, let's completely switch like the vibe.
Yeah.
A lot of
some
success.
Joy.
A lot of success has been achieved at GRM with yourself. What does the future look like? What is it that you have got in mind for 2022 and beyond?
It's $1 million question. I'm personally, from a personal point of view, still figuring it out. Because A&R stuff has definitely changed. There's the rap music at its peak of everyone kind of popping has definitely lessened and it's thinned out. And artists, it was very concentrated. Now the really good artists are building solid fan bases. Everyone else might have a one hit and then they're not having that second, third kind of follow up. So just adjusting to that. The drill thing took me a while. You know what I mean? I was like, what's this? And like, I'm not hood in any way, shape or form. So all that, I've never gone through the stuff that they're going through. So it took me a while to understand why are they saying such violent things. But when you meet them, bro, like,
lovely guys.
They're lovely guys. Like, and all they want to do is change their lives. So then a lot of that,
they're just speaking about their reality.
That's their reality, innit? And it took me a while to understand that's their reality. And there's a massive adjustment period from like that being your life, being paranoid of everyone, not having a pound to scrape together, whatever it is you might, or all your money is illegal, to having a hit, legal money. You've got teams now that want the best for you, care for you, want to package you, but you're still in that mentality kind of thing. You know what I mean? You're still on the road and seeing things like that. But yet you're a music artist, you're a proposition that can sell out 10,000 tickets, maybe. You know what I mean? 10,000 tickets. Like, you're very credible. And just trying to understand their mentalities and their heads and what's important to them. Because as an A&R, you need to know what's important to your artist as a person, as a human being. So I'm just, I had time adjusting to that.
I think it's also interesting because going back to like the 9 months thing of not finding something that really sat right with you, I find it interesting because obviously a lot of the debate has been about Drake's new album. Is like, is it trash? Is it good?
Yeah.
Like, is it a good listen after 3-4 weeks after release? But you have to put context into it, and a lot of the music that's been released this year was made during lockdown, where everyone was going through their own things, and like it was a whole different mindset. So it's going to be interesting to see how music evolves next year when people are back into doing shows and back in, like, because a lot of the artists make their money from shows, so they would have also been really demotivated,
and they're not experiencing anything. Like, a lot of it is based on flying out, relationships, heartbreak, like, and
there's nothing to talk about.
A lot, and plus people discount, like, culturally what's happening also dictates your music. Like, things that might be happening or getting passed in government slowly filter down, and now like there's a Somalian wave happening, and that's probably based on Somalians moving to London, growing up, and now these kids are 18, 19, and there's a lot of proper wavy Somalian kids there's a few of them, 4 or 5 of them now that are sick, and it's like that's a filtered down thing to eventually who's living in these London houses. These kids are then coming together. One kid's done it, 4 or 5 kids now saying I can do it, and then you have this Somalian trap wave thing that's going on, like VG, Dope Rapper, Nino Uptown Dope. Like, these kids are very good, and they don't have any Somalian like benchmark or like a role model that's done it before them. So now in 10 years you don't know who's going to be inspired by that, and the next wave comes in, or who's emigrating to the UK next and bringing that sound with them. Like, so we just saw, what's his name, CK. He just went number 3 with that song on TikTok. He's number 3 in the UK, 15 billion TikTok views. I can't even say the second word. I don't want to butcher it. It's an African word. That love.
Oh yeah.
Love Noah TT, I think, essentially.
Yeah, but he's from here.
He's from, I think he might be.
He grew up in the UK, I think. And then he moved, and then he introduced his sound into Africa, and it blew up. That's what I mean by UK is toxic. Because like sometimes the UK won't support their own artists.
Yeah.
And then they'll have to take that sound somewhere else and get appreciated.
Like, I remember watching an Angel episode, and like, I was like, wow, how did Angel not like, how is he not one of our biggest stars?
Honestly, oh my God.
It might have even been half cast. I can't remember where it was, but it was
Check Up. No, Check Up? Right, Check Up. Yeah. Go check out.
And US love him.
He's wavy. I always wish that he could have done like more and more and more. Even though he's achieved a lot.
I feel like we neglect Western, but it's like maybe your time's not here. Like, UK R&B is massive.
But that's because UK think it's almost soft to listen to R&B.
Yeah.
But Western and Angel, like, that's wavy music.
Yeah. The Western constantly is a bar. No song is shit.
You know, they made Into in the studio across.
Did they?
Yeah.
Amazing. I think Angel or one of his brothers. It's like a family affair, that whole thing, which is again dope to see. Kind of like the Adenuga thing. That is amazing. Like, mum's got a book, sister's a presenter, both brothers are rappers, and the other brother's the not famous one, if you want to say that. He's like a sick artist, which is like that crazy. Imagine building that dynasty, bro. That's the dream. But I don't know what's next, bro. Like, musically, we can just go with the flow, follow what's happening. Like, I always say to people, GRM is like never bigger than the biggest artist in the UK. Like, it grows relatively along with the artist. So the bigger the artists get, the more popular they get. The more popular we grow. Like, we don't set the rules, nor the pace, nor the standard. Like, the music does that. And we just report on it well, and document it well. And that's all we can do. So the more epic shit they do, more epic shit we can do. So it's just waiting for that next thing. And for your personal achievements, the target that you set in your mind is being number 1 A&R? I don't think so. Not anymore. I want a top 10, and I want a platinum hit. I don't think so, bro, because I'm not prepared to make the sacrifices that you have to be number 1. That's me being frankly honest. I'm not prepared for all the Soho House dinners and White City House meetings and all the late night. What it takes to be the top A&R. Sleepless nights. Yeah, like I don't think I can do that, to be honest. I want a family. I love that you own that, though. That's important to me. I don't mind being like top 5. Don't get me wrong, but it would be insulting for me to say I'm trying to be number 1 with the kind of, not effort, but like output that I have right now. That would be insulting to whoever is number 1, because they're 24/7 grinding. Like, I always say to people, I couldn't tell you how to make a kick or an 808 and all these things. Like, I just hear a song and I know what's good and what needs to change, and I know people are gonna like it and what they're not gonna like about it. But in terms of my musical knowledge, there's A&Rs out there that can. This is a riff and this is a bass pattern and this is percussion, and they can really break down a song and do that. I'm still learning that and learning all the musical terms and whatnot. So I want to be better at that. That's definitely a goal. But in terms of actual like numbered goals, I want a top 10 hit. So I haven't done that yet. When Slim's home, I want to do Slim's campaign, and I think Slim could do very well with his mixtape. I think a lot of fans.
What is that looking like?
Cannot say it, mate. I'm legally blind, but yeah,
It's coming.
Yeah, when that happens, that should be exciting, because I remember when Potter came home, and the reception was amazing. It's almost like
Potter's big for me because literally where I grew up, where I went to school, literally is where Potter's from. So it's so amazing to see that artists that were grinding for years, they're finally getting their flowers.
100%, bro. And again, that's evidence of the number one rule that talent always wins.
It might
There's
take a
no
bit longer.
image. Yeah.
Like real talent, sometimes it takes a bit longer for people to really appreciate it and want to listen to it on a regular basis. But it does come, and when it comes, it's that much sweeter.
So sweet. And like his album position on that mixtape, Fresh Out of Jail's number 3. Like artists are struggling to get to number 3 with bigger fan bases and like bigger marketing pushes and all of that. Number 3 straight in, just based off fantastic music and real music and no compromise, bro. He's not like done the drip thing massively. He's not done the jewels thing. He's just been himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Potter's like a shining example of just.
I hope that's the direction it eventually goes in. Is they're just being themselves.
I think there's always an element of someone's wearing a mask in it, but that's a very deep, long theory that is. But you're always essentially being someone else, right?
Yeah.
And acting to a degree. But I think the real rap vibe will definitely be back. Like Pain. And like just real stories, bro. Like tell me what you're doing and tell me what you're living. I don't want to hear too much of like
what you're buying.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean. I get once you're not there,
that's what you have. That's what you're living.
You know, we can't keep telling that story. And I love boastful rap and like the Dipset era and all that kind of music. I'm go back and listen to that, like braggadocious rap. That is wicked, but I don't think we've mastered it yet. I don't think Hakkasan and Nobu is bright. Like I want to hear, like I want to wait 5 years and hear when like Dave's rapping about 10 Aston Martins and his, you know what I mean. There's a bar in America. My dog got a doghouse. You know what I'm saying? Like my doghouse got a doghouse. Like that is the kind of standard you want to hear in it. Like your whole generation, you bought them all a house. I want to hear that kind of braggadocious rap, which we're 5-10 years away from. But you never know what that's going to influence. You don't know who Stormzy's going to sign. What effect he's going to have. Like Tiny Temper now semi-retired. Like what wisdom is he going to pass on? Giggs is in the US right now. You just saw Giggs chatting to Jay-Z yesterday or last week, whenever that was. Like you couldn't imagine Giggs and Jay-Z having a conversation 10 years ago. Like, you just don't know where it's going to go.
It's exciting.
We'll
Exciting times. All right, before we wrap up, we're going to do a quick rapid fire.
Oh no.
Just so everyone can get to know Sakib a bit more personally before we wrap up. But so just answer the questions as quick as you can. Don't think too much. Just say it how it is. Let's go. Night in or night out?
Night in, definitely.
Pepsi or Coke?
Neither. Rubicon Mango.
A lot of people have been saying that recently, you know.
Never liked any of them. Rubicon Mango or Fanta or Lilt. Something fruity.
Money or love?
Love.
Laundry or dishes?
Dishes.
Coffee or tea?
Tea. Green tea.
Your favourite city in the world?
I haven't been to many. Dubai.
Yeah?
I just love the fact that everything's clean and halal.
And it's like you don't have to look over your shoulder. No crime. Nice car or nice home?
Nice home, man. Yeah.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube. It's more authentic.
Watching more stuff on YouTube?
Yeah.
If it happens, AJ or Fury?
AJ, man, it's from Watford, man. Big up. That's home.
That's local to you.
Yeah, that's hometown, Watford. Yeah, that's AJ all day.
Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo's my guy.
Me too. What's your favourite supercar?
I don't like supercars, bro.
Just keep it simple.
I prefer luxury, like a Bentley
like
or
a
a Rolls.
yeah.
Or there's no point.
What's your favourite car then?
I want the Urus. Is that? It's technically a supercar,
yeah.
But it's got a bit. It's spacious.
You can drive it.
I don't want to be cramped. Every speed bump's hurting me. and you do 30 and you can't do much
A
faster.
lot
What's
of
the point?
supercars are not made for London.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Horror or comedy movie?
Comedy.
When you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
Watch football all day long.
Who do you support for everyone out there?
Watford.
You support Watford?
Yeah, I'm local, bro. My hospital's there where I was born, and the stadium's here. You can't.
You keep it
It
real.
didn't choose me. So I didn't choose it. It chose me. I mean,
All-time favourite meal?
I love a classic. Okay, Pakistani meal is one thing. Yeah, kidney beans, mortini dal. Yeah, everyone that knows me knows that's me. If not, pasta arabia. Simple. I've got a very simple palate.
What was your first job?
Used to work at Superdrug.
First job?
£4.58 an hour.
The grind
But
is real.
it was all women, so you used to have nice chats. It wasn't no toxic, heavy masculine energy, so I liked it, to be fair.
You learnt more being around.
Yeah.
Where would you like to retire?
Pakistan. I want to go back to the motherland. Well, I don't want to. I want to have 4 houses in like 4 different. I want to be able to go Spain, maybe a bit of skiing, Pakistan, and then England.
Yeah. Get the culture in there as well.
Yeah.
Passenger or driver?
Driver.
Role model growing up?
Ooh. Role model growing up. Shit. I didn't have one. My cousin Shaq was probably the closest thing. Shaq and Hanan were both my cousins, both working in music. That was like, okay, you can do that. And Shaq, I used to want to dress like him a bit. He was fly and all that. So that's the closest thing. But I didn't really have one. My mum is, just like and strength and persistence.
Resilience.
Yeah, and resilience, bro. Like, yeah. There was no celebrity role model ever. I've never looked at a celebrity and said, I want to be like you. Like, you take elements, like you watch The Last Dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, bloody hell, Michael Jordan is a winner. And you want to have that competitive. But no one, never like adored anyone.
It's like you said, they're just people at the end of the day.
Bro, like, they're just human beings, man. Everyone's got their shit and problems, bro.
And finally, if you had one superpower, what would it be and why?
Fly. Of course. Nah, teleport. Not even flying. That's probably get tiring. I would love to just go and I'm in the Bahamas or like in Bora Bora.
Imagine that, no traffic.
Yeah, no traffic,
flights.
bro. And even now,
No PCR tests.
like, it wouldn't matter that we've, like, if I have to be home by 9, it doesn't matter that we're finished. We can finish at 8:59 and I can be home. You don't have that 45-minute drive home. You have so much more time.
That would be sick.
So teleport, yeah.
Cool, man. I really enjoyed it, honestly.
Thank you, bro.
For anyone that wants to follow you, support you, check you out, what's the best place for them to support you on?
My Instagram's private, so Twitter. It's just my name. I just tweet about football and music all day long. And email.
We got a close insight because you don't really. You're more in the back end, like you're doing things.
Yeah, I just don't think it's probably not the best promo. I just don't think it's that. I've never thought it's that interesting. Oh, do people really want to know this? But I think there's actually people out there that do. So
it's showing people that there's a pathway in so many different things.
Oh, 100%. That's important, though.
One rule to success.
That's important, and thank God that my mum's not like doctor, lawyer, like our culture is. But especially for South Asians, I'm very passionate about letting them know that you can use your skill set in many different ways, bro. And it doesn't have to, like, everyone thinks it comes with, oh, it must mean drink, or it must mean women, or it must mean, bro, you can still read namaz and pray and be a good Muslim and religious or a good Pakistan, or whatever they think you can't be, and just do Photoshop. Like, why can't you just be a graphic designer, 35, 40 grand a year, chilling? Why is that not a possibility? Why are we not allowing our people to do these things? Why are you forcing them to go to uni, force them to do medicine, law? They hate it. They become miserable and become this petty, vicious cycle that we have because we can't grow.
Live our dreams.
Yeah. So do you know what? I didn't even realise I was very passionate about that.
I like that final message.
But we're going to do something about that one day.
Perfect, man. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to go check out Sakib's Insta, even though he's private, because there is a lot of things that, if you look like you work in
music or something, I'll accept you. Just no Forex traders, man.
And final message for any artists, aspiring artists, that, they would love to be in a position where they either get onto GRM's YouTube or they want to eventually get a deal. Like, what's the one golden piece of advice that you'd give to any?
My advice would be know your shit. It's so important. Watch your interviews, read your books, check what Jay-Z done, and even UK ones, consume content and learn. Like, why don't you know what a record deal contains before you sign it? The information is out there. We live in a digital age. Like, you can buy things from IKEA now forget the instructions, go on YouTube and just watch someone else do it. Like same with, it says I'm applying the principle, but just type it in. What does a record deal mean? What does PRS mean? What do royalties mean? Just type it in on YouTube. The more information you arm and tool yourself with, the less bullshit can penetrate you, because you already, that's not true.
There's almost no reason to be ignorant.
Exactly, right? Because you can just know the facts and ask and research, man, and just consume. I think consuming content in this age is so important, bro. Like, watch interviews, go to like, there's Urban Development do them, Red Bull do them, seminar speak. Like, you can't be passionate about just the creation of the music, because if you want to be a successful artist, you're a business.
You need to follow the blueprint and see what
Bro,
nuggets are being left behind.
Like, when you become you can pay an accountant, but know where your money's going, know what you're paying him for, know what tour management looks like, be at least a basic educate. Like, there's certain things, maybe Photoshop, graphic design, that thing, okay, you might leave it to a super expert. That's, you can't grasp that. But everything else, try and be as well-rounded an artist as you can, and that will stand you a good chance of success, man.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.